We are going to talk to Chris Cowlin, who's out in Germany for the Leipzig game. How are you, Chris?
Hello, Martin. Very well. Yourself?
Very good, very good. Chris, listen, I was sort of... What did you make of these comments of Carragher about NDombele? Because there's so many downsides to the bits and pieces with Spurs at the moment. You know, they're sort of all over the show. I know that there's two major players that are injured. However, it's just, if you've got to play somebody in that role and they're not running and not wanting the ball, yes, he does look great on the ball. I admit that. You know, there's certain players that have got great balance and look fantastic when the ball comes to them. But if you're not putting in a shift, you shouldn't be playing, should you?
Well, he's a record signing, £65 million. He has been a huge disappointment since he's arrived at the club. It's such a shame because all of us Tottenham fans see some glimpses in the games that he plays. He is a special player and he can be one of the top footballers in Europe. But for 70, 80 minutes of games, you know, he just doesn't perform. And you can't just perform for 5 or 10 minutes of a game. But what really does worry me about him is the fact that all of the games that he has played for Spurs, he either comes on now as sub or he is substituted because he just cannot complete 90 minutes.
No. And this got to go back to training, surely. When you're in training and you pull a player aside and say, listen, mate, look at your stats of your running and your sprinting, and or maybe it's just not in his game. And if it's not in his game, who bought him?
I know, it's a huge, huge shame. You know, when we've got a club like Tottenham Hotspur who don't spend big money anyway, you know, when they went out and spent £65 million on him, everyone was hugely excited. You know, he started off well, scored against Aston Villa at home. But
Chris,
when you've got a player
before they bought him, did you know anything about him? Seriously, did you know too much about? No, the only reason why I say that is I speak to so many people on players that we buy from here, there, and everywhere. I know I go on about Chelsea a lot, bringing kids through the academy and stuff like that. But we buy players from here, there, and everywhere, and most of the fans only know about them after about 10 minutes because they've done a bit of Googling. Yeah,
it's very, very true. But Tottenham aren't one of those clubs that go out and buy big names. You could say that about Pochettino, you can say that about Mourinho. Is the money going to be available to go out and spend hugely on, you know, household names? I don't think it is. So Tottenham are a club that need to go out and explore and research and do their stuff and get players like this in. But it does prove sometimes that you go out and spend big and you don't necessarily get top quality. But it's players like this who need to step up and get Tottenham back to where they need to be, because the signings in the summer weren't that great, haven't been that great. Giovanni Lo Celso has been a godsend really in the last month or so because of his performances, but apart from that, the signings in Ryan Sessegnon as well, you know, the injury problems that we've had, it's just been such a shame for us this season.
Well, then going back to that, you know, look, at the end of the day, you just said that players like NDombele have got to step up to the plate. It's not in their game. For me, I'm looking at that player, yes, looks wonderful on the ball, but he should be playing in Italy. Well, nobody's playing in Italy at the moment, but he should be playing in Italy where you're a bit more time on the ball and you don't have to do as much running. And that's no disrespect to teams in Italy, but it's the style of play. In the Premier League, you've got to run. You've got to put in a shift. And
exactly.
He's not cut out for this league. And it's as simple as that. He shouldn't be playing. And you just mentioned Lo Celso. Lo Celso, why did he start on the bench? Why did he not start him?
Oh, you're talking about the Burnley game.
Yeah.
The Burnley game was absolutely awful. It was a 500-mile round trip for me, and to see a first half like that was absolutely
shocking,
abysmal. You know, some fans were even booing at half time because of the performance. It was absolutely awful. When you've got a player like Ndombele in there playing alongside Oliver Skipp, who is one of the youth players, and giving his all, giving everything, passing the ball about. Huge difference. You know, a youth player to a £65 million player. He showed him up, and Jose Mourinho done exactly the right thing in bringing him off at half time. And that is one thing that I do really love about Mourinho: the fact that he can make bold decisions, and he's not scared to make a bold decision and say that he got something wrong. You know, the Olympiacos home game, he brought Eric Dyer off after 28, 29 minutes, huge decision. And even at the Burnley game to bring, your centre midfield off, both of them, it's a huge statement. So he did change the game, and he got us the result in the second half. Yeah,
I mean, that's right. I'm almost wondering whether he knows about NDombele and said, well, do you know what, I'm going to stick him on for the first half to show the fans he's not for us. Sometimes it is a bit of a mind game, and then the fact that he was proved right and he comes out and makes that statement afterwards. Do you think he was right to make that statement in the public? I just said about Alex Ferguson.
No,
he never did anything. Sven Goran Eriksson, my second dad, who was on telly last night, came out and said that he wouldn't have done that. He doesn't understand the reason behind him. What do you think?
Martin, I've always believed if you've got a problem with a player, it must be to the player himself in the dressing room. Mourinho said what all of the Tottenham fans are thinking. All of us are very, very frustrated. All of us can see that he's not as lean as the other Tottenham players, and he's not as fit as the other Tottenham players. But we have lived in hope this season that he will grow into the Premier League and adapt to the Premier League as we would have hoped he would. But we're now in March. The season's nearly over. We've got 9 Premier League games left. So if NDombele isn't good enough and he's not going to take Tottenham forward, then Jose Mourinho does need to offload him in the summer.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, just looking ahead, but I mean, I'm going to come back to the Leipzig game. Man United on Sunday. I'm doing the gig at Spurs, funny enough. Please God it goes ahead because it's a nice payday. But it's just, I mean, what a worrying time to meet up against Man United, who just suddenly seem like they've turned the corner.
Well, the results of late just haven't been good enough for Tottenham, and now we need to just pick every single point up on the board. We need to play our socks off. We need to play our hearts out. And yes, we've had lots and lots of injuries, but Mourinho just needs to work with the players that he's got now and just try and get us over that line. Because I know a lot of fans have written off European football for next season, but European football is a must in that stadium. The incredible stadium that we've got. We must have European football there. And what we're accustomed to as Tottenham fans in the last 4 seasons, travelling all over the place to the Champions League games, this is where we need to be. Champions League final on the 1st of June. Tottenham are an established Champions League side, so it'd be an absolute nightmare if we didn't get Champions League football next season. Yeah,
I mean, look, at some point, I will talk to you because I did the gig at the Wolves game, and I've never heard a quieter stadium than that. Yeah. Even at 2-2, it was an embarrassment. I had to go and ask some of the security staff. I thought that maybe something had gone wrong with my earpiece or something. I couldn't.
It's worrying. I tell you, Martin, it is worrying the fact that the last couple of results, the last couple of performances at the stadium, the crowd is very, very quiet, and I think this is at the time now when the team need us most, and we need to be that 12th man. Yeah, we really do.
We'll have a discussion again next time about that, Chris, because I want to talk to you about sort of people sort of swapping their season tickets, and that's why for me the atmosphere in a lot of these stadiums at the moment it's all become a bit corporate, and the old sort of people jumping up and down with their scarves and their bobble hats has gone out the window. I just want to ask you, you're out in Germany. How's the trip been so far? Have you got a mask on? What's happening?
Oh, there's plenty of masks about. Lots of warnings about the coronavirus, and I was pleased yesterday, walking around Berlin, and was pleased yesterday to get the announcement that the fans are going to be allowed in the stadium to watch the game, because there was that worry that the German health minister was saying that because of the coronavirus they didn't want people, large gatherings. But I'm glad that it's going ahead with the fans in, because Tottenham do need us tonight, and all of us will be singing to just try and get Tottenham through to the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Yeah, it's going to be a tall order. What about Leipzig? They ejected Japanese fans at a Bundesliga game the past weekend. They just seem to take things very, very seriously over here, and even a lady was sick on our flight on the way out. Oh dear. And she got ejected from the flight because they just don't, the EasyJet didn't want to take any risks. So. Really? I appreciate when you've got something so serious, people aren't going to take any risks. So, and there's also talk of the Bundesliga games in the next couple of weeks being played behind closed doors. So watch this space. Yeah. Well, listen,
enjoy yourself, stay safe, keep your mask on, and hopefully Spurs get a result out of this tonight. Appreciate your time. As always, Chris Cowlin there. He's out in Germany.